I'm sure Disney must be pissed. They were all set to rename him Mickey Mouse. And hey, maybe now they can to make him intellectually distinct.
As of today, Mickey Mouse, not Mickey Mouse per se, but Steamboat Willie is in the public domain. After 95 years, as the Steamboat Willie was released in 1928. We've all seen Steamboat Willie. As a matter of fact, I can show you Steamboat Willie today. Now you can use Steamboat Willie, and only Steamboat Willie, not Mickey Mouse, but Steamboat Willie.
Well, not only just Steamboat Willie, it's also Minnie, Pete, and Oswald too.
Which is, people don't realize, has nothing to do with the copyright on the character. The reason Disney still have the rights to that character is because they're abusing trademark law, not copyright law. So that's what keeps getting extended over and over. That's the same thing that's happening with Conan and Zorro and Solomon Kane. People are all excited about the Shadow going into public domain. I'm like, cool your jets. They're just gonna abuse trademark law, and they're gonna keep holding on to that. So you don't know what. It's absolutely not.
Right, and you see Adam said, "Now you can't wait to see what the internet does," which we're gonna get into that in a little bit here. And you said the same thing public domain always does: vandalism.
Yep. You
want to go into this a little bit further on your thoughts on this?
Well, I already made a video called "The Public Domain is an Ass." I'm kind of an intellectual. I'm kind of an intellectual property absolutist. I'm not a big fan of the public domain. The tyranny of the commons is very, very real. But the thing is, the people who bemoan copyright on the basis that these big companies are abusing it, more often than not, don't understand copyright law and don't understand trademark law. And what they're really pissed about is the fact that trademarks keep getting extended and extended and extended and abused and whatever. And that's down to the courts. That are, really the problem at this point is not that copyright law is being too rigidly adhered to. It's that it's not being. And that's how we wound up in this place. We're not being consistent in our application of copyright law. That, by the way, is why American corporations are filing trademarks in fucking Germany and China, because they actually protect their patents and copyright and shit. Like, if you have an American patent, corporations look at you sideways. Like, what the fuck? If you're serious about your trademarks and your patents, you file in overseas somewhere, because those countries actually defend their IP, albeit while stealing American IP.
Right, exactly.
Look, our vice president came out, Kamala Harris, before she was elected, and said that if drug companies refuse to play ball on lowering prices, that they will illegally seize the constitutional authority to, and I quote, snatch their patents. So this is where we're at with copyright and patent law in this country. The problem is not that we're rigidly adhering to these fucking laws. But anyways, go watch my rant on that. It's called "The Public Domain is an Ass." And go look at what happened to the Wizard of Oz since it lapsed into the public fucking domain.
What I think that's important to realize, that with public domain, there's copyright and there's trademark. Those are two very different things.
And there's patent is distinct too, which people also don't understand. It's a totally different thing, and it functions a different way. It has a different period before it expires. And the thing about patents too is, without patent law, a lot of inventions never would have existed, because as part of patent law, when somebody patents something, it's immediately filed, and then the actual patent is made public, even while it's still in place. So people can't steal it, but they can look at it and they can iterate on it. And that's how you wound up with the thriving cell phone industry. That's how you wound up with all the shit that's been patented over the years. People were able to iterate on it before the patent expired. So people don't really understand how the laws work. Is fundamentally the problem.
Right. Well, and I think that's the other thing. Let me actually thank you, Nikki, over on Rumble, by the way. Well, it is interesting to kind of see what people are doing with now that Steamboat Willie is out there. So we got a couple examples of some fun things that people have done. This one is from Rob Yolfo over on Twitter, which I think as soon as you see the first frame of this, you're going to go, "Yep, okay, this is exactly what is expected." But here we go.
Come get me, you sons of bitches!
There you go. That's the
Is
kind of
it
thing.
bad that I recognize what movie those clips are from?
What movie are they from?
It's from Missing in Action, I believe.
Oh,
Okay.
I was like, it's Rambo, but not actually Rambo. It's just Rambo.
It could be
Willie.
Rambo 2008, but I'm pretty sure it's Missing in Action, the Chuck Norris classic.
Ah, yes. And then we have this one over
somebody
here. From...
somebody says it's Rambo 2. If they say that, I believe
Oh,
it.
I totally
it was
guessed.
one
I
of the
never saw
two.
Rambo.
They are basically the same movie, by the way. Rambo 2 ripped off Missing in Action.
Well, speaking of ripped off, we're going to get into the ripped off aspect of this as well, because there's one part of this that people aren't taking into account. But this is also from another Twitter user, says, this is my effed up reimagining of the now public domain Steamboat Willie, named Steamboat Killie. Please do not use him in your stuff. He is my property for the next 95 years. So there you go.
Terrifying. Is it sad that I'm actually sad that this is now public domain? Because in my opinion, Steamboat Willie is just a really sweet, innocent thing of how Disney started with Walt Disney.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just tainting his legacy. I mean, Disney like completely tainted his legacy now, of course, but like it's just another thing that's gone wrong that you're like, I leave it alone. They don't make these stupid horror movies off of it.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be something sweet, innocent for kids. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, aren't the Disney Corporation fucking over Walt enough as it is?
Yeah,
Right?
and it makes
this
me
is the good version of the character, and now this is the one
Yes.
that's going to be vandalized rather than I'm sure Disney must be pissed. They were all set to rename him Mickey Mouse. And hey, maybe now they can to make him intellectually distinct.
I feel like they're gonna try to take it back this year too. Like they're not happy. I guarantee you that this thing is now public domain. They're gonna try to figure out how they can get it back.
Yeah.
I bet.
I agree. I think Disney's going to do anything they can and grease as many palms as they possibly can. But what's interesting is, you remember that song we heard at the beginning with Steamboat Willie that he's whistling?
Yeah, I can't whistle.
Wouldn't you know it that is actually an actual homage from a song that was in the public domain called Steamboat Bill. Did you know that?
No.
Well,
How'd you know this?
because I'm smart. This is from Irving Kaufman's Steamboat Bill from 1919.
Peter to the Golden Gate, old Steamboat Bill, steaming down the Mississippi. Steamboat Bill, a mighty man was he. Steamboat Bill, steaming down the Mississippi, going to beat the record of the Robert E. Lee.
What happened to popular music? From that to Taylor Swift? What the fuck?
Does that just blow your mind, Blabs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but did that
I
guy
kinda
have
want
an
that song?
Right. Right. If that guy opened an OnlyFans, he'd be huge today.
Give it up for Irving Kaufman for 1990 Steamboat Bill banger.
And he
which is
said
great.
Robert E. Lee too. True.
You can't say Robert E. Lee
Yeah,
anymore. You
that's
can't
not
say
allowed.
Robert E. Lee.
That is not allowed.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare! Well, I guess we'll see what it's going to be interesting to see if anybody really pushes this, and maybe they make some sort of, you saw the Winnie the Pooh movie. That's kind of the great example of the terror movie. But if somebody goes,
that's a good example of the tyranny of the commons. There's a good example of that, and all the edgy, hey, can we have another shitty comic book that's supposedly Oz, but hey, the Cowardly Lion is a big muscly mutant, and oh, hey, can we make the Tin Man a steampunk robot again? And fuck that shit, right? Oh, yuck.
Yuck.
how do you really feel about it, Razor? Just curious. Well,
I'm a big fan of the Oz series too. That it hurts doubly. It's awful. Like I've loved those books since I was a little kid.
ease on down the road. Do you remember Oz? Was it Oz from Michael Jackson was in?
That's
was
The Wiz. I do
The
like
Wiz,
The Wiz,
yes.
and that was technically just after it went into public domain.
The Wiz was awesome. That was a great.
Yeah, I love
adaptation.
The Wiz. It's very underrated. I love the art design in that. It's crazy when you go back and watch that. Don't tell Doug Walker's hacky ass, by the way. He hates that movie. But the art design in that, it's like post-apocalyptic Mad Max Wizard of Oz, kind of, the way they did the art design. Because it's urban, right? That's the idea. Because it's
Right.
a black Motown,
Urban.
whatever. So
Right.
at least it feels different from Wizard of Oz.
Blatch, did you know that there was an all-black ensemble Wizard of Oz called The Wiz?
I
that was produced in
did.
the 70s? Yeah.
You guys actually taught me it like last year. I can actually
good.
say that because that was like yesterday.
But what do you think about this? Leave us a comment down below. We read every single one of them. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button because you have found your home for common sense in the gaming and entertainment worlds.